Hi, and welcome to Cooking in Mike's Backyard. Today we're going to be making bacon. It's pretty easy to make. It's fun. One word though, if you're going to be trying to recreate store-bought bacon, you might as well buy store-bought bacon. It's not that expensive. It's really good. I love it. But we're going to be doing something a little different today. We're going to start out by making the bacon, and then later on we're going to show you how to spice it up, make it a little different than the store-bought bacon. All right, so let's begin. All right, to make bacon, you start out with pork belly. You can get pork belly at Costco or at a good butcher shop. Sometimes it comes with the skin on. If you get a piece with the skin on, you're gonna need to cut the skin off before you start making bacon. At Costco, usually it's put out on the shelves with it sliced into pieces about that size. Just ask the guy behind the glass to get you a whole pork belly, and that way you can control the amount of bacon that you're making. So this is about a 10-pound pork belly. Pork belly is a really underutilized meat. I think people are afraid of it because it's got a high fat content, about 50% fat. But there's a lot of really great things you can do with pork belly. We're gonna do some other videos in a little while that will show you other methods of using pork belly. But for right now, we're gonna make 5 pounds of bacon, so I'm just gonna cut this in half. All right, I've got a large Ziploc bag. It's about a 2-gallon, maybe 3-gallon bag. And what you're going to do is you're just going to put in a third of a cup of brown sugar, a third of a cup of salt, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1 tablespoon of black pepper. Make sure we get that all in there. And then 2 teaspoons of curing salt or pink salt. There's other names for it, but you just basically put that in there as well. Now, you're going to mix this up. This is going to be a pretty basic curing salt mixture. You can add other spices at this point. I like to keep it pretty straightforward and simple. You'll see later in the video we're going to add some different flavors to the bacon once it's had time to cure. So just mix it up really good. Break up the clumps. All right, and then what you do is, pretty straightforward. All you're going to do is spread it out a little bit here and just slide the pork belly into the bag. First, leave air in it because you're going to toss it around. Get that sugar and salt mixture all over the pork belly as best you can. And what's going to happen is we're going to stick this in the refrigerator for 10 to 14 days depending on the thickness of the pork belly. This one's going to sit in there for about 10 days. And what's going to happen is the salt's going to pull a lot of liquid out of the pork and it's going to create a brine. And what you're going to do is you're going to put it in the refrigerator and then every day flip it over. A pool of brine will form at the bottom, and then as you flip it over, it'll soak in the brine. All right, we're gonna put this in the refrigerator now and check back in on it in about 10 days. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. You're gonna try to get all the air out of the bag before you put it in the refrigerator, as much as you can, just because you don't want air pockets in there. All right, so the pork belly has now been in the brine for 10 days. I'm gonna take it out. You can tell by basically the stiffness of the pork that it's cured enough, but trust me, 10 days is going to be enough time. 10 to 14 depending on the size, but this is about 10 days. All you're going to do is rinse it in cold water. Just want to get off all the residual brine, much of the pepper as you can, the paprika, just give it a good rinse. You can do this in your sink inside. I'm going to do it outdoors in these tubs. All right, so after you've rinsed it in the water, and this water got kind of dirty, so we're going to rinse it in the second water. Just let it drip dry. And then place it on the cutting board. What you're going to do next is you're just going to take some paper towels and blot off the excess water. Now for this pork belly, you could actually finish it off just like this and not add anything else. But as I said, we want to spice these up a little bit. So we're going to cut them into 3 even strips. All right, now that you've got it cut into 3 strips, you can look inside and you can see it's really starting to look like bacon. So what we're going to do on these 3 strips is we're going to treat them each a little differently. This one we're going to put a maple and pepper covering on it, maple syrup and pepper. This one we're actually going to make sriracha bacon, and this one we're just going to leave as is. All right, so for the maple one, it's pretty basic. Actually, let's start on this side. We're just going to put on a good amount of maple syrup, rub it in on all 4 sides. All right, so now that you've got it all covered with maple syrup, you're just going to sprinkle on some black pepper and work it in. Again, on all 4 sides. All right, after you get it covered with maple syrup and pepper, of course black pepper, just set it on a cooking rack on a sheet pan. Okay, so last time we made sriracha bacon, we just put sriracha sauce on the outside like we did the maple and pepper bacon. But this time we're going to do something a little different. We're actually going to inject a little bit of sriracha into the bacon itself. So I pour some into a container. I use my injector and just draw out some sriracha, and we're just going to inject it into the pork belly. Just put a couple of presses so we get some sriracha flavor into the bacon. So as you see, as you pump it in, it actually is going into the bacon. You saw a little bit squirt out the side. All right. Okay, so I'm only going to inject the one side because it's getting plenty of sriracha in throughout the bacon. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to coat the outside with sriracha as well. Massage it in. And we're going to put it on the rack. Ready? Okay, so this last strip of bacon we're just going to leave as is. We're going to put them all 3 on the rack in a refrigerator, uncovered, for about a day or a day and a half, and then we're going to smoke them. Okay, so the pork belly's been in the refrigerator now for 24 hours. What you're going to do is you're going to transfer it. It's absorbed all of the, in this case the sriracha, in this case the maple syrup. It's all absorbed in, the flavors are working in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer it to a smoking rack and put it into the smoker. All right, we have the smoker fired up. It's at 200 degrees. We're smoking with hickory today. You're going to place the bacon into the smoker until it reaches an internal temperature of about 155 degrees. All right, so the bacon has been in the smoker for 3.5 hours. It looks like, yeah, that looks really good. So we're going to take it out of the smoker and let it set at room temperature for about an hour. Okay, so the bacon has rested at room temperature for about an hour, and all we're going to do now is put it in Ziploc bags and put it in the refrigerator until tomorrow. It's important to remember, we only heated this up to 150 degrees. So because it's pork, you really want to have it at 165 to be safe. So you can't eat it even though it looks delicious. But tomorrow we're going to slice it, fry it up, and try it. All right, so the bacon has been in the refrigerator now overnight, and we're just going to slice it into strips and see how it tastes. So it cuts up pretty well. I usually cut the end off, and then I make a cut of that. I'll use the ends for something different, but this I'm going to fry up and see how it tastes. So we have the sriracha, the maple, and the plain. All right, so the bacon, as you can see, is smoked all the way through. It really looks good, smells great. Yeah, this is fantastic. Okay, so we fried it up. Looks really good. This is a sriracha one, maple, and this is the plain. We're gonna cut it up and give it a taste. One for the cameraman, one for me. One for the cameraman, one for me. And on this one for the cameraman, one for me, and one for the doggy. All right, it's time to taste. I'm going to start out by tasting the plain one, just because I think I'm going to work my way to maple and then to the sriracha one. That's really good. Yeah, perfect. All right, let's give the maple one a try. Good. Maybe more maple next time. That's pretty damn tasty. All right, last we're gonna try the sriracha. Didn't really permeate the meat as much as I wanted to with the injector, so I might have to inject less but more often. Now let's go try. It's really good. You can taste that vinegary taste. Wow, that's really great. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit subscribe if you liked it. I'll be posting videos as often as I can. Hit like. And if you have ideas as to how to coat bacon before you smoke it, let me know. Post it in the comments. Thanks a lot.